Jennifer!
Oh my god, no, please. To Jennifer.
Jennifer!
So, we've been watching a lot of found footage films lately, and we've been rolling the dice on some that are on Tubi. And, okay, I hate this because these are low-budget films, and these are filmmakers that I'm sure watch these reviews, and they're just trying their best and whatever. And maybe this is for someone, but this was one of my least favorite found footage films I've watched in a while, and it mostly has to do with how unbelievably annoying the characters are in this. You know, this is a better film, not Jennifer, To Jennifer, but the film I'm about to talk about. It kind of reminds me of when we watched Dashcam.
I was just gonna say.
And I was like, man, I really wish I could enjoy this film, but our main character is so fucking grating to me that I cannot get into this. That movie has really cool stuff going on in it. Mm-hmm. This, unfortunately, on the other hand, does not. Mm-hmm. And the, twist, you figure out so quick. You figure out so fast. Yeah. I think you're the one that figured it out before even me. You had it really, really early on.
I think so, too.
And I was like, oh, yeah, 100%. Like, as soon as she said it, I was like, oh, yeah. I probably would have figured it out pretty shortly thereafter, but she caught it before I did. Oh, man. Yeah, so, okay, what this movie's about really quick, and then you can bash on it, too.
I don't want to bash on it.
No, I don't want to either. I don't either.
I just want to tell how I felt about it.
We watched this whole thing so that we could review it.
We did.
Okay, so there's this guy who thinks his girlfriend Jennifer is cheating on him, and so he grabs his cousin to fly out to where she is, or at least within, 500 miles of where she is. They didn't have an airport closer to her fucking house, even though she lives in, a residential area in, obviously, a big city. I don't understand why there's not an airport that's, within 5 miles, 10 miles of her house. It's fucking crazy. I don't understand why they have to drive so far, why it takes so long to get to Jennifer. That part of the movie made no sense. Why fucking fly there? Why not say, because in the movie, he's afraid of flying. So why don't you just say, I'm afraid of flying. Let's get this guy that I know to do a road trip. Mm. You have the exact same film, but it doesn't leave all these questions about why the fuck is it taking them so long to drive there when they flew out to where she is? Anyway, so they go there to confront her, and he's making the video of I know you're cheating. Yeah. I'm filming it. They kind of try to do it like the original Catfish movie. Mm. That's what it felt like it was an attempt of, which I love. I saw that in theaters, and I love the TV show, and love Neve and everybody. Yeah. Max is the other guy, but he didn't come until the show. It's Neve and Ariel.
Neve and Max were my sister and I love that show.
Henry Jost, Henry Jost and Ariel Shum, whatever. They went on to do Paranormal Activity 3 and 4 and a couple other movies after Catfish.
So I think also, I hate disliking low budget found footage films and low budget films in general, because as you said, it just feels bad. But
she hated this so much.
I really hated this movie. And I do think that, for me, part of it is the premise, because, and this is just me, because obviously this is definitely how some people react to being cheated on. I've been cheated on as well, but I would never, part of the making of the film is that he's, filming people being oh, I think it's the cousin that's doing the filming that's hey, he just got cheated on, what do you want to say to Jennifer or whatever, and just a bunch of strangers just being fuck you, you're awful, you're a horrible person. And I don't know, I'm just kind of that's you don't even know what the situation is, you're literally just saying it. But the idea of I'm gonna give this to the person that's cheating on me so they can hear all these strangers and random people telling them how horrible of a person they are.
But this all amounts to nothing in the end
regardless,
anyway.
I think you already said it. All of the characters in this I found completely insufferable. There's three main guys. Yes. It's Joey and the cousin and Martin or whatever.
Yeah.
And I I just could not empathize with literally any of them, and I don't feel like... I feel like you are supposed to empathize with Joey, with the main character. I feel like the setup in the beginning is like, he just got cheated on, like, his heart's broken, he's been dating this girl for 2 years, like, he should be the one of all the people that you empathize with. But I found him really annoying, I found him very childish, awful. And I know that that's probably also partly, like, that's how the character was written, you know what I mean? So it's like, but I hated it, and then also all of the side characters.
You think this character was written?
All of the side characters I hated too.
Yes.
There's a lot of, like, yelling that happens just throughout the film that is just, like, you know, it's hard. Like, if you've ever watched somebody's videos of, like, a party that they go to, or, like, they're hanging out with their friends and everybody's, like, yelling over each other, like, that's what it felt like, where you can't really understand what everyone's saying and it's just overwhelming and it's not entertaining to you because you weren't there and you weren't, like, a part of, like, the chaos or whatever. Like, it felt like that for a good amount of it. And then there's also just, like, I was very confused maybe 3/4 of the way through the film when there's, like, a pit stop somewhere. And
at a motel?
I don't understand why that had to happen.
That scene makes no sense.
Yeah.
I've got nothing on that. They like stop at this, like, abandoned, derelict hotel, motel, whatever, that literally has, like, a room, like, covered in blood, even though it's, like, clearly spray paint on the wall. I don't honestly understand what was the attempt there, but then they're in one of the rooms like it's an operating motel, like, 10 seconds later. Yeah, but it's the weirdest, like, hotel room, which was clearly just a bedroom in one of their houses. And they have this, like, tiny little television up on like a freaking... I think it's supposed to be, like, a rent by the hour type establishment because they then bring back prostitutes. So I guess that would kind of make sense, but that's clearly not a hotel room. That's clearly not a functional, operational place. I don't care about any of that stuff. If I was enjoying the film, I would just be like, whatever, they don't have the budget. But the disconnect of, like, this is an abandoned, derelict hotel, but I guess it isn't, like, that was fucking weird. So I agree with you there. I hated so much about this movie. There's a scene that happens when they're at a party where a fight breaks out.
I don't know. Yeah,
that's... Is that supposed to be relevant to this plot?
I don't know.
I thought that was going to be revealed to be something in the end. I'd have to look at the guy again to see.
Not.
It's not the same guy?
Not. No, it's definitely not. It's just like I have no idea.
So what the fuck is that?
I don't know. Just drunk people fighting kind of a thing because they're all, like, drunk at this party. But
how do you throw a random scene in, like, dude, you have no idea how to write a movie.
But that's how
that's
unfortunately
insane.
Is how it felt. So, like, okay, I will say, like, I think you bringing up dash cam is really a great, like, thing to compare it to, because we hated the main character in that so much. But as you said, there was some really cool things happening around the character and, like, the storyline itself.
Yeah. Imagine watching Dashcam if Dashcam also had nothing going on for it outside of the character that's annoying as fuck.
Because there are a lot of people that really enjoyed Dashcam. They're super into it. And I can totally see why.
Sure.
If this movie had, like, so it's not about, like, the characters can suck. The characters can be horrible people. We don't necessarily have to empathize with them at all. Like, we've watched plenty of movies where the people are just the worst kinds of humans.
The VHS movies, especially the first one where the guys are, like, running around and grabbing girls and pulling their tits out of their shirts.
Yeah. But then there's stuff happening around them that you're watching for, right? And I think that that's really what is missing from this. I'll say that, like, on the positive thing that I'll say about the film is that I did feel, like, especially maybe more in the beginning, I don't know, maybe it was throughout the film, but they did feel like they knew each other, and I feel like there was some pretty decent, like believable chemistry between, like, how, like, the cousin and him were talking and fighting.
Yeah.
Like, they sounded like real people. So they have that going for it, but
only in the beginning, though.
Yeah, I think that it kind of starts to devolve a bit throughout the film.
And our main character, what is his name? Joey?
I think it's Joey, yeah.
Whatever the fuck his name is. When he's, like, yelling at the guy in the car towards the end, and he just yells. It's like, once they get to the hotel, or motel, he yells for the rest of the film. Like,
pretty much.
Almost every single word of dialogue.
Yeah, almost all
and
of it.
And probably 90% of that last 20, 25 minutes, he's talking, or yelling, should I say. He has dialogue for 90% of that last 20 minutes, and 95% of that is yelling. Like, screaming, yelling, and it feels like terrible acting as well.
It felt very... Unfortunately, it was like, it came across as comedic. Because it's like, if you've also ever seen somebody... I don't normally like feeling like this, but there's definitely been times, I'm sure other people can relate to this, where like you see someone that is just ridiculously angry about something and they're like freaking out, and it's funny. Like, I think maybe kids are a good example with that, and you know, I'm not saying you should laugh at them, because obviously because like when you're angry, like you're like,
my kids are hilarious when they're bad.
But then it's also kind of funny, unfortunately, so you really have to like control yourself, because you don't want to laugh at them because they're angry and it's valid. And if you've ever been laughed at when you're angry, it feels horrible.
Of course
it makes you even angrier. So, but unfortunately that does happen sometimes, and that was the impression I was getting for this. Like, I was laughing at him because it was just like, what is this? The other thing is,
if you've never been around a kid that is like super angry, it's really funny, because like the dramatics of it are what makes it funny. Like, my kid yesterday was freaking out over nothing, and she was mad at her mom, and she was calling me on the phone, and she was like, I'm gonna hate her for all eternity because she's not listening.
There was
and I was sitting on the other line, and I was like,
did you, as a side note about this, I don't know if I showed this video to you, but it was like this mom recording after they got out of the car, like their 2-year-old or something was like really angry at them in the back seat, and so she was saying all the bad words that she knew, but she didn't know curse words, so she's just like, spiders, cigarettes, cobwebs, like, and I just, you know, it's so funny, because it's like she's saying things that she thinks are awful because she feels awful. Yeah, anyway,
it's cute.
I think also, unfortunately, like, you know, we just reviewed a movie called Sorgoy, or like Descent into Darkness, which I didn't particularly like, but the actor does a phenomenal job at showcasing like insanity. And there's definitely been other movies where you can watch people, you know, play the crazy person, and I think that this film also it's hard to do that, because it can come across as too like try hard, you know, like, where
this is the
people, it's like, oh, this is how crazy people act, like this is what an insane person would do, like this is what a psycho would do, and it did not work. It was not working for me, and yeah, I feel bad. I feel like this whole review, I feel awful for everything I've said, but it's truly how I felt.
If this was a Bruce Willis movie, this would be Try Hard to Try Harder.
So this is not a recommendation.
I've never shown you Die Hard 2, Die Harder, have I?
I don't think so. I think we've only watched the first Die Hard.
It's like the greatest title ever. Die Harder. And the third one not being called Die Hardest is like one of the biggest missed opportunities of all time. But this movie is this is really Try Hardest. This is like the Try Hardest movie I've ever watched. With the like,
the cousin's laugh. The cousin's laugh.
Okay. The cousin's laugh is insufferable.
Like, I've never physically wanted to punch somebody more.
Because he thinks everything's funny that isn't.
Yeah,
like the guy has a panic attack on a plane to the point where he has to go to the hospital, and he just keeps getting in his face like, isn't it hilarious we're in the hospital because you had a panic attack, you pussy? And for someone like us, who we've literally went to the fucking hospital for panic attacks.
Yeah.
It's beyond not funny. It's the not funniest thing ever.
If you ever like would make fun of your friend or family member for having like a mental health issue and having anxiety or panic attack, like, you're a horrible person.
I envy you. You're
a horrible person
because
if you do that.
No idea what they're experiencing, and I envy you because of that.
There's also a scene too where like one of the characters is putting on like concealer to cover up a bruise, and like the guys are just totally like making fun of him and laughing, and it's just like, I don't know, man. I just really hated the characters. Like, of all, like, these are the kinds of people that I literally would never, ever, ever want to be around. Ever.
Last thing for me, and then I'm done. But the funniest thing in this whole movie to me, with like the try-hard acting and all of that stuff, is towards the end, as I had said, the main character, when he's yelling through most of it. There's a lot of scenes at the very, very end when they're outside of a house where he's doing this yell with his teeth clenched the whole time, and I was mimicking it to Kaylee the whole time, like, Kaylee, why is he yelling like this? Why isn't his mouth opening all the way? Why are his teeth clenched together? It was like, I get it, because he's like, they're trying to be quiet, but he's really mad. So that's like his whisper yell, but it's not a whisper yell. If you want a whisper yell, you're like, stop it right now.
Yeah, that's a whisper
That's
yell.
a whisper yell. He's like, hey! Hey! It's like, you're still being loud, you fucking moron.
I know.
And then, oh my god, there's some really funny things too with like a revelation that's made that's like the most obvious revelation, and how he stumbles on it and what he says. I don't get. Spoilers for the film really quick. If you fucking have seen this, if you have, it doesn't really matter. But there's a body in the fucking trunk of the car, and he's like, he has to like somehow acknowledge that there's a body in the trunk before he goes to open it, and he's like, oh my god, he left the trunk open. And I was like, why would you announce that? Why would you announce that out loud? And then he opens the trunk and he looks inside and the guy's dead. And he's like, oh my god. And then he like goes to pick up the phone.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, and then he goes in the house and he's like, did you kill him? And it's like, oh my god. Because he already looked in the trunk. It's not like there's plausible deniability where maybe he just didn't know he was in the trunk or whatever, even though he straight up said, I put him in a taxi.
Of course
and he's
he
like,
killed
you can't.
him.
But yeah, Kaylee called that he wasn't even dating Jennifer very, very early on. Good call by you, but I can't talk about this movie anymore.
Don't watch it.
Oh my fucking god.
Sorry. I'm sorry if people making this film watch this review and hate us. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I gotcha. All right.
Bye.
Make a better movie and we won't talk shit.